Hi there and welcome to Lorena's Labyrinth. My name's Anna Pirelli. The comments that you see here are my views, beliefs, opinions, and sometimes they are not even my fully formed views, beliefs, and opinions. However, they are my understandings. Please do retain an open mind and reflect on any of the content and your comfort levels. If your views differ, please feel free to leave a comment. Also remember, it is possible to disagree in respectful ways. My way is not necessarily your way and vice versa. You might also find that some of the content on this playlist in regard to spiritual or universal laws, it resonates with you, meaning it feels right to you, while other laws may not feel right or they may not feel comfortable. If this is the case, the information is either not right for you or it is not right for you right now, and it might never be right for you at any given time. It really doesn't matter. As an earthy and practical person, I can put my hand up with all honesty and say that I have at different times had the same feelings about some of the content in here. And with some of them, I still have a level of skepticism within my viewpoints, but I choose to retain an open mind about the things that I don't fully understand for a few reasons. Firstly, because I believe it would be supreme arrogance to think that we all know all of the answers while we have a body. And because what is right for one of us is not necessarily right or suitable for all of us, and I choose to respect the differences. Please do leave your opinions, beliefs. Feel free to argue the points in a respectful way with any of the content on the slides and even my interpretations. And if you feel that you can add clarity around some of the content, we would all love to see it. Thank you. For now, though, let's explore the laws.
All creation is governed by law. The principles that operate in the outer universe, discoverable by scientists, are called natural laws. But there are subtler laws that rule the hidden spiritual planes and the inner realm of consciousness. Contained within these laws, or conditions, is the true nature of matter. Knowledge of these laws has an effect upon the mental urges. Mind is the builder. Stay in full mindfulness of the application of universal law as related to self and to others, and know that in love all life is given, in love all things move. In giving one attains, in giving one acquires. In giving, love becomes the fulfillment of desire, guided and directed in the ways that bring the more perfect knowledge of self as related to the universal, all-powerful, all-guiding, all divine influence in life. Love is life. When we go back, merge with the God source, in some infinitesimal but profound way, we expand the mind of God. Our higher self always points the best and most perfect way, and it is ours to listen and choose or reject what we hear. It does not blame, but patiently tries again to show the perfect way, the loving way. All of creation pushes forth. We are ever becoming. Identity ever remains. Universal Law number 73. The law of process. This law is an awareness that we have things to accomplish in our life. If we wish to reach a certain goal, we must set a direction, create order, prepare well, and proceed in small but sure steps. Any achievement can be managed in increments. Skipping a single step or taking a shortcut often results in failure. Also included in this law is the knowing to appreciate the accomplishment of a step toward a goal.
So I find this law interesting in as far as it talks about a process of goal setting for spiritual growth as well as success on the earth plane. And at the same time, I'm not surprised. However, I don't really think at any given time that I have specifically mapped out a process for my own spiritual evolution or set specific spiritual goals as tasks, or even, followed this entire process of goal setting, which of course I've put this image on the page here just so that you can see. If we were mapping out an earthly goal, this is the kind of thing that we would do. So where I'm going with this is I don't think I've ever consciously applied this process to my own spiritual development, and rather my own spiritual growth and development has been a consequence of me following, I guess, my intuitive guidance. In some ways, I hadn't put this in my notes, but as I'm speaking to you through the slide, I'm thinking to myself, you know what, I'm actually questioning whether the idea here is about us taking control. So is this a question of control? We're attempting to direct and control our own spiritual growth. So I guess because I don't really perceive myself as having control issues or whatever, when it comes to my physical life, I will map out specific goals and do goal setting as a process. But when it comes to my spiritual stuff, I tend to just hand that over and put it out at the divine time. Things will occur in the divine way under grace, that kind of thing. So even to the point of, obviously, I see something that becomes that idea, that becomes my goal. Like my original goal was I wanted to raise my auric vibration to the maximum I could carry. So I put that out to the universe and I allowed them to show me the way and what steps and actions I could take towards that end, right? So for example, Reiki came my way, attunements in affordable ways. And I just... I think once you're open to receive, if you make that your primary goal and your connection to the divine, the creator, your guides, your angels, that kind of thing, and you tell them what it is that you're hoping to achieve, and then you're open to receive the information, and then the guidance comes through. So I tend to follow my intuition and also to be open to seeing the opportunities when they present to me, because we have free will with this, right? If I think about one of the times I did what's called a master, I call it a Reiki attunement, I was aware that was actually quite pricey to do. So I put it out to the universe that I would like to do it at some point in time as part of my own personal growth and development, but that I would like it to arrive in an affordable way at the divine time. And funnily enough, once I put it out, it was within about 2 or 3 weeks that the opportunity presented. I didn't, I questioned whether or not I was ready to actually do it when I put it out there, which is why I said at the divine time, because I envisaged when I put it out that it would probably be a year or two before the opportunity arrived. And about 3 weeks later, the opportunity arrived. It was certainly far more affordable than others. It was outside of my budget, but I flexed my budget and I took advantage of the opportunity. And of course, I believe that I've received the benefits of that attunement. So I guess in some ways I agree, but I disagree with the idea of mapping out a process of spiritual growth and evolution, although obviously different strokes for different folks. It might be something worth applying. In fact, actually, I suppose in other ways that I might do similar if I'm attempting to manifest something. And, this is with the invocation of angels and that kind of thing, where I set my goal, or if we do a vision board, which actually I rarely do, but I should do, things like that. You know what I mean? These are all part of creating spiritual goals, I guess. What I do find very relatable within the law is where they talk about if you skip steps, that basically that's not healthy, it's not a good thing, and it impacts on the actual achievement of the goal. And I think we can put this into perspective by doing that as above, so below kind of thing. If we've got an earthly goal and we decide that, for example, let's do a really simple one. I want to set up a business, this is what I want to do, and I'm just going to go and open the door and advertise it. But if we haven't researched the market, if we haven't evaluated what's positive, because opening up a business is a project, if we haven't taken the proper time to establish where we need to spend time and what will work best, well, then we might have short-term success if we're lucky, but it won't necessarily be sustainable either, because you've got to have ongoing evaluations of the success of the project and how to make it endure, what actions you need to take, okay? So I guess within that knowledge, I can look at spiritual development and make that comparison where, many people will come into the idea, or they'll come across let's say that, I'll simplify it. Okay, so a person who's got very limited understanding of spirit or spiritual awareness or whatever will have their first spiritual experience where they might see a spirit and they're blown away and they're like, oh my goodness me, this stuff is actually real. I thought it was all a fairy tale. And they're like, I want to know more. I want to know more. Okay, so these type of people, they're the ones that we find quite often who are like, I want to be able to see visions, I want to be able to communicate with spirit. So, they've got these, I call them romanticized notions of how they see spirit communication and what they can do with it. And even if they're well-intentioned, they might be a person that has lost somebody and they don't want other people, or they've had an experience and they don't want other people to suffer in the same way they did. So they will automatically, if they're good people, because I'm not saying they're bad people, quite often they're very well intended and well motivated. So their idea is, I know what I can do. I can get out there, I'm going to open up my brow chakra, my third eye, and I'm going to be able to have psychic visions and channel information to people. And then they will put the emphasis on developing the brow chakra and they'll forget about all the other chakras and ignore them. So what they're doing is they're jumping basically from 0 to 6, attempting to do that and bypass development of all the other chakras. Now, when they do that, that's very high risk. I'm just going to say to you straight up, it's high risk. Even if you are able to open up to the visions, if you're not focusing on the health of your other chakras, then basically that brow vision is, or the clairvoyance, has the capacity to distort because you haven't worked through the release of fear and that kind of stuff. So actually that's a really good one to discuss, is because they haven't released fear, they will attract potentially fearful scenarios to them to encourage them to release fear. Not to mention, if they haven't worked on their throat chakra and developed the capacity to communicate effectively, then there's every chance that they may relay information which is distorted and it's not pure in the message that comes across to people. And the worst case scenario that I have observed is when they are focused on the brow chakra to the exclusion of the other chakras, they can actually become quite psychologically unstable and at risk of some, how would I describe that? Let's just say some unpleasant experiences. So certainly as a teacher, I always say, don't try and open up your brow chakra. Don't try to be a psychic. Allow the gifts to unfold as you work on all the other ones. Now, I'm lucky in many ways that I learned a lot of this stuff through personal experience, and my lessons were fairly light. Do you like that word? They weren't heavy lessons. And the way I learned that you start from the base chakra and work your way up is because I had misunderstood, obviously, something I'd read somewhere, which was, actually, I didn't misunderstand it. I mean, it's true. I still actually promote it, that you've got to have an open mind, you know what I mean, and be receptive to new information and new ways of doing things. But you don't have, the process isn't one where you start at the crown chakra and work your way down, is where I'm going, because this is what I did and how I learned the hard way. I mean, I suppose you could. I wouldn't encourage you to put it to the test, but only if you were going to work on all chakras at the one time. And what I did as an activity was I had looked and seen that there was a number of activities that you can do to raise the vibration of each chakra. So I thought, okay, I'll start at the crown because, that makes sense to me. I need to open my mind up and be more expansive. So I did energy work on the crown chakra. Then I went on and I did my brow chakra and I did my throat chakra, I think. And then I decided I was a bit tired and I needed to go to bed. Okay, so I didn't complete the cycle, is where I'm going. Well, the next morning I felt really quite unwell, physically unwell. I was experiencing dizziness. I felt very detached, and I would say very out of kilter. Now, where I also was very fortunate was I had a friend come over to visit me in the morning, I think probably on a school run or whatever. Sorry, I needed to cough. Anyway, she arrived, and as she arrived, she kind of looked at me. Now, this woman was a full-blown medium. She could actually see and communicate with her guides. And she's walked in the door, obviously not open, because when you open up to your gifts, you can turn them on and turn them off, right? And most of us that do this work, we don't walk around wide open all day, every day. We open up for specific purposes when it comes to communication. So anyway, she's arrived at my house and she's taken a look at me and she's going, "Are you all right?" And I said, "No, I don't feel very well." She said, "What have you been doing?" And if I recall, I started to tell her what I was doing, and then she started laughing. And she said, "I am being told that you have gone and done something back to front." I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "They're showing me images." Now, this woman didn't understand the chakras, okay? She would deliver a pure message that she didn't understand, but those that were getting the messages could understand it. And I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "He's showing that you played with lights or something like that. You've been doing something with lights." And she said, "He's saying to me, he's pointing at his head, right? Or whatever." And I'm like, "Oh my God, yes, that's exactly correct. I did." And she was continuing to laugh. She said, "He's laughing at you. He's saying, no, you should have started at the bottom, basically." And so this is one of the reasons why I am so very firm in my convictions, because I've tried it and tested it. If you want to develop your chakras and your psychic gifts and all the rest of it, you must start at the bottom. There is a process, and when you skip a chakra, if you decide that one's not more important or not as important as the other one, it's going to lead to, at the very least, physical instability and feelings of unwellness. But at the worst case scenario, it will certainly lead to some pretty big psychological disturbances, probably within the frontal lobe, and ultimately that will flick over to the brain stem, which of course is the reactive bit, and impact on the way you're living your life through your behaviours. Now, of course, I'm always interested to hear other people's experiences, if they've had similar. Did they learn similar, the same as what I did? Do they have any further information? If you're one of them, please leave a comment. I'm more than happy and very appreciative, and I know other people will be as well. So anyway, for now, that's it for me for today. I'm going to say thank you once again for being part of my journey, and I shall catch you on the next video. Take care. Bye-bye for now.